Becca coming to you from the FCC with another women-centric ZRL Recon. So I hope you guys are enjoying these. If you're not, then I'm not going to waste time doing them anymore. I'm going to hit on race 6 of this series. I'm told it's Tair, Dringfa, Fechan, but I could be bungling that badly, which would sound like me, so I'm sorry if I am. It is about 32 kilometers. I've seen both 32.1 and 31.9, but the recon that I did ended at 31.9, so I'm going to go with that. Kilometers long with 375 meters of climbing. That is 50 meters less climbing than last week, but in a shorter course. However, it's a much lumpier and bumpier than last course with no major Keith Hill waiting for you at the end of the race, so that's great. I actually really like this course, and I have to say I kind of look forward to it. It's going to be a scratch style race, which means there's no intermediate points. It's all finish line points. That's going to change how you would attack these hills, because if you think about it, a points race is usually clustered around the segments for which you gather points. So like last week, a lot of the intermediate time was spent chilling out or trying to drop people and then chilling out, but mostly chilling out between the start to the sprint to the KOM. And in a scratch style race, there's a lot more positioning, and everybody wants to get to the finish line first. So it should be interesting. The first hill that you're going to encounter is right around 4.5 kilometers, and that is about 2 minutes if you're going between 4 and 4.5 watts per kilo. It could be up to 4 minutes if you're doing 2.5 watts per kilo. And then you still have a draggy climb at the top where you're continuing to climb, but it's over the bridge and it goes down to a very draftable 3 to 4% for the most part. So I'm going to head over to the course notes, and then I'm going to switch back and forth between the course notes and the recon. Okay, so now you're going to see the beginning of the race, and we are in downtown. We're going to take a left out of the pen, and we're going to go down to Ocean Boulevard and into the tunnel. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit because almost everybody has done this. You take a left, you're not going up the hilly KOM yet. And then we're going to go straight, we're going to go down into the tunnel. And I'm going to skip to 4.5 kilometers. This is the climb up to the base of the epic climb. It's not that long, which makes it a power climb, and there's going to be fresh legs on this. So there's a lot of speculation on this recon ride about whether there were going to be splits, and I think that while there will be splits, I think they're going to be tempered by everyone having fresh legs and there being a long gradual descent following the bridge. So I think that's going to make it easier for groups to come back together. And I think the course is long enough that most teams and most groups are going to want to be in a group for the rest of the time. So you see it tops out right here. You saw 10% for a second. It gets a little steeper around the last turn. So still 10%. And then you're going to go across the bridge and you're going to take a right. And after you go right, you can see on the sauce overlay on the bottom of my screen, it's a long gradual descent and then a short steep descent. And that short steep descent can cause big gaps to grow if you are not with a group. So try to get back into a group by the time you get to that point. So I'm hopping back over to the course notes here. You can see that you're going to descend from the epic KOM. It's a long downhill. You can super tuck if you're at the front of a group, but make sure that you get into a group because you want to be there for the next 5 kilometers. you're going to do those gentle switchbacks around 11.9 kilometers. Okay, so I skipped forward to these gentle climbs, and you can see right now it's 1%, and not a serious climb, very draftable, very easy to stay in the group, but you want to pay attention, because as you go around this final climb, there's a little bit of a steep blip, and then you're going to go down towards the Italian villas. And because it's one of those points at which you will slow down significantly, you just want to pay attention, especially because you want to be in a group for the next interesting point. So I'm going to wait until we go around the next corner, and then we go over the steep bit while I talk about the feather that you're going to pick up at the banner. Kind of led with that one. You're going to go through the sprint before you take a right and head towards the hilly KOM reverse. That's going to be a feather. The feather lasts for 30 seconds and it makes you lighter on the hills. And you can see what I'm talking about here as the front of the group, you can tell, is pulling away from me, where I'm not doing anything different than I was before, but they're kind of snowballing ahead of me. And so I want to get back up to speed. So we're in the Italian villas, we're going to go right. And right here, I've skipped ahead to the second hill. You can see on the Velo viewer on the bottom, this is the steep bit. It pitches up significantly in this first couple hundred meters. And you don't want to go all the way to the front here, because you're going to hit a descent afterwards. You want to be with the front group. And then you're turning left, and you're going to go up the opposite side of the hilly KOM, the second half of it. So I've still got my feather, and I think saving it for the second part of the climb makes sense, right about here, and it should last you a significant portion of this area. Again, don't hang on to your power-ups. If you're really dying to stay with a group and you're just waiting to use that power-up, use it, because staying with a group is what you really want. So, you know, there are perfect places to use it, and then there's using it because you need it. And staying with a group should be your first priority. So at this banner, you're going to pick up your second power-up of the day, which will be a anvil. That anvil will last you 15 seconds, and it's going to make you heavier. However, it only works on grades that are more than 1.5%. And it's not going to penalize you if it's not that steep, but you're not going to get any benefit from it. So my recommendation would be to save it until you get to under the bicycles. So you're going back under the bicycles here, and you can see the grade is going to go down from here. So right about 18.2 and on, you've got a portion of time where you could use it. Here would probably be best at 18.3, 18.4, 15, you're going to get 15 seconds out of it, and you can get a lot of rest in. Following this climb, there are not a lot of significant lumps and bumps until we get to the final climb. We're going to go back and we're going to look at the third power up that you get, which is in the volcano. So we're going to go, okay, so I fast forwarded a little bit, and here we are in the volcano. You're going to pick up a third power up here, which is a draft fan. The draft fan only works if you're already drafting, which I always thought was a little weird, but you can't use it unless you're behind someone, or you can use it, but it's not going to do anything. It'll give you extra draft. And it's a great way of chilling out, especially after a hard press. So my recommendation would be to wait to use it until the exit to the volcano and the entrance to the downtown area is over a little hill, and then you're going to go downhill. And I think having that extra draft when you're going downhill is what I would recommend to wait for. So I'm just going to let it roll as we go across. you do want to use that draft fan or throw it away if you don't want to use it, but I'm not sure why you wouldn't want to just throw it out there, because you're going to pick up a feather downtown, and you want that feather for the last part of the race, which you can see over here is all yellow, and it's not super steep, but it is pitchy up and down, and a feather would be extremely helpful to have. So don't forget to use your draft power up, and here's where I would recommend using it. There's likely to be a hard push over this cap. It's not a significant climb, but here you're going to go downhill, and using your power up here just means you get to rest and recover, which is what you're going to want to try to do until you hit the climb. Unfortunately, you can't use the power up after about the banner, which is coming up any second in at 25.3 kilometers. You are going to continue going through downtown until you turn left after the track, and you're going to start the climb up to Titans Grove reverse. I'm sure most of us have done this, but I'm going to let it roll from about 26.5 as I talk through the strategy of how to address that climb. So you're already going up here, and this is the climb back to the desert. Calling it a climb is a little, but as you take the right hand turn, it's going to start to become pitchier, and these lumps and bumps are kind of like the next level S's. They're a significant up and then a significant down, where the pitch is up to 6% at times, sometimes 7%, where your momentum is being cut a lot. And so you want to be with a pack, and you want to be able to keep pushing here, which is why you wanted to chill out until you got here. I expect a lot of the categories are going to be going hard from about this point, and it's going to be a rough run to the finish. So you can see here, this is up to 5-6%. And then you do go down, and so it's not a continual up, and so that's why it's so helpful to be with a group. And you can see on the HUD drop down, there's up and down, and it's sometimes red up. So stay with a group. You're going to have your fellow power up. If you can wait to hold to use it on the segment, that's great. If you can't, then use it to stay in touch with a group. Hopefully not in these tiny ups and downs, because again, it makes you lighter. So it's not going to be super helpful in these uphills that only last for 10 seconds, because it's a 30-second power up. There are a couple of the longer ones, and the longer ones that might be more useful. However, I think saving it for the finish climb is probably the best move. And so these lumps and bumps last until about 30.8 kilometers. In that last kilometer of that 5 kilometer segment, there is a significant downhill, and stay in touch with the group if you can, because if you are not in the group and they hit the downhill without you, with a lot more mass, collective mass, then they're just going to fly away from you, and then you have to drag them back on that climb. So that's painful at 31 kilometers. So at 31 kilometers, we're going to hit Titans Grove. Reverse. Sorry. That's about the fastest fasties, I think, do it in like 1:20, which I've never touched. Most of us mere mortals are somewhere between 2 minutes or a minute and 35 seconds, I'll say, to 3.5 minutes. And it's not super long, but again, this is after anywhere between 47 minutes and an hour of riding. So you're tired. I'm tired. Look at my avatar. She's so tired. But you can see that this is fairly steady here, and it's between 4 and 5%. My recommendation would be to wait if you can if you are with a group, wait until other people are starting to fire off their feather and then try to use it after that. Do not wait until the last 100 meters, however, because the grade starts to go down and you're going to waste your power up. So you want at least, it's 30-second power up. So you want to use it at least 200 meters before the finish so that it can last you until the finish. So if you use it too early, then you're going to be in pain just like you were before, but a little heavier on the screen. So, and you can see you finish right here at the top of the banner. So my recommendations for this course are to stay with the group as much as you can. Flyers are likely to come from the first steep grade, but it's likely that they're going to be caught because there's a significant downhill. You remember to use your power-ups, remember to hydrate, and to eat if you can, because these races that are over, anything that's over 40 minutes, in my mind, I try to take food in, and try to have fun. I mean, I like the fun. That's why I do this. My song recommendation is Players with David Guetta, because girls are players too. So go enjoy, have a lot of fun, and good luck to everyone. Bye.